Saturn. In Roman mythology, Saturn was born to the supreme sky god Caelus, equivalent to Greek Uranus, and the Earth Mother Tellus, equal to Greek Gaia. Recognizing Caelus's oppression, Saturn dethroned him, establishing himself as the supreme deity. Apparently, a prophecy foretold that his son would overthrow him. He didn't want this to happen and devoured all his offspring he had fathered with Ops at their birth, who were Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Juno, Ceres, and Vesta. In order to save Jupiter, Ops substituted a stone for swaddling clothes. Saturn swallowed it, later disgorging his children. Jupiter, who had been hidden, eventually overthrew Saturn, who fled to Latium. Saturn was taken care of by Janus and brought about the Golden Age, which was a time of peace and equality. This was a Roman addition to the Greek myth. Opus. Opus, equivalent to Rhea in Greek mythology, is depicted seated on statues and coinage, often holding a scepter or cornucopia. In Roman mythology, she is Saturn's wife. Opus, linked to Greek mythology, is Saturn's sister and the daughter of Caelus and Tellus. Jupiter, Neptune, Pluto, Juno, Ceres, and Vesta are her children. Opus had a legal authority to use temples, priests, and sacrifices. As mentioned earlier, Saturn, fearing a prophecy, devoured their children, but Opus cleverly saved Jupiter by wrapping Jupiter in a blanket. Later on, Opus helped Jupiter free the siblings from Saturn's belly. Jupiter. Jupiter was a god in the sky who was respected for his influence on life. He was basically the Roman equivalent to the Greek god Zeus. He played a big part in keeping the Roman state safe, and military leaders would show their respect at his temple after winning battles. The aforementioned Saturn, once the supreme deity, was frightened by a prophecy that hinted at his downfall by one of his children. To stop this fate, he swallowed Neptune, Pluto, Ceres, Juno, and Vesta when they were born. Ops, his wife, when pregnant with Jupiter, secretly gave birth on Crete and offered Saturn a stone wrapped in baby clothes, tricking him into thinking he had devoured Jupiter. When Jupiter, who was raised in secret by his mother, became aware of his destiny to overthrow Saturn, he compelled Saturn to resurrect his siblings. Together, they confronted Saturn and the Titans, initiating a conflict with the aid of Cyclops and the hundred-handed giants. Ultimately, they emerged victorious and imprisoned the defeated Titans in Tartarus. Jupiter, along with his brothers Neptune and Pluto, then divided the universe. Jupiter claimed the heavens, Neptune the sea, and Pluto the underworld. This triumphant division marked Jupiter's ascent as the new ruler of the gods. Juno. Juno, the wife and sister of Jupiter, as weird as that would sound to you right now, was essentially the Greek goddess Hera. Don't worry about the wife and sister stuff because standard law discouraged sibling marriages among common folk. In mythology, gods and goddesses who were brothers and sisters like Jupiter and Juno were only united in these ancient stories. However, these stories were only symbolic and didn't really reflect what people actually did. Juno's watchful eye extended to women, taking care of various aspects of their lives. Like I said earlier, kind of exactly like Hera. Legend knits together Juno with Carthage. As Virgil wrote in the Aeneid, she is known for delaying Rome's founding. Juno opposed Aeneas as the Trojan hero destined to establish Rome. She favored Carthage and attempted to thwart Rome's rise, driven by prophecy. Juno manipulated events, bringing Aeneas to Carthage, where Queen Dido fell for him. The rivalry between Juno and Venus escalated, with Juno attempting to prevent Aeneas at every opportunity. Despite her efforts, Aeneas made it to Italy, laying the foundation for the legend of Rome's birth. Minerva. In contrast, Minerva, the goddess of wisdom and craft, took special care of schoolchildren and artisans, including carpenters and stonemasons. Minerva was essentially considered the counterpart of the Greek goddess Athena, and she embodied wisdom in Roman mythology. In Roman stories, Minerva's birth is like Athena's in the Greek myth. The story begins with Jupiter having a romantic relationship with Metis, a Titan. He apparently learned of a prophecy that predicted his downfall from his own son, and he was terrified of Metis's unborn child. He swallowed both mother and child, echoing Saturn's actions. Minerva, who had been meticulously planning her entrance into the world, finally emerged fully formed from Jupiter's forehead, prepared for battle. Several versions depict Vulcan aiding the birth, using an axe to remove Jupiter's head. Despite her unusual birth, Minerva grew up to be Jupiter's favorite child, enlightening the twisted turns in Roman mythology influenced by Greek legend. Mars. Mars, the Roman deity of rage and warfare, played a significant role in early Rome. He was important to the city-state's mythology because it inspired fierce fighting. But with the shift to empire and the adoption of Greek cultural values, Minerva took precedence as the goddess of tactical and strategic warfare, diminishing Mars's prominent position in the Roman pantheon. Mars was heavily influenced by the Greek god Eris, the god of war, and shared much of his mythology. Despite the widespread belief that Mars was the son of both Jupiter and Juno in an alternate myth, it was stated that Mars was solely the offspring of Juno, from her resentment towards Jupiter's ability to give birth without a mother. Juno sought revenge using a flower from Flora, the goddess of flowers and fertility. She then tested it on a cow, then used it for herself to conceive Mars. According to the myth of Rome's founding, Mars fathered the twins Romulus and Remus. Aeneas, upon his arrival in Italy, established the kingdom of Alba Longa. Mars, motivated by lust or a passion to safeguard Numitor's lineage, assaulted Rhea Silvia while she was asleep. She had a vision of planting seeds that would eventually grow into two trees that would cover the entire globe. Upon awakening, she discovered that she was pregnant with the twins Romulus and Remus. Amulius ordered their execution, but they survived and landed in Rome, where a she-wolf cared for them. Mercury. Mercury, the Roman deity like the Greek Hermes, symbolized commerce, communication, and travel. As a cunning messenger and patron of various domains, he guided souls to the underworld and defied boundaries. He was often depicted as a nude with wings, a winged helm, and the caduceus. Mercury rose to prominence in the 3rd century BCE after being taken into Roman culture. Mercury was the child of Jupiter and Maia. He had many godlike relatives, including Vulcan, Minerva, and Proserpina. Known for his love affairs, he partnered with Larunda, resulting in the birth of the Lares. Hermaphroditus was born by his affair with Venus, who embodied both genders. Mercury, like his Greek counterpart Hermes, was interested in relationships with both genders. The late addition to Roman mythology, Mercury was a versatile figure with no fixed origin. Neptune. Neptune, the Roman god of seas, storms, and horses, resembled Poseidon, the Greek god. Neptune, unlike Poseidon, a pivotal figure in Greek mythology, ascended into the Roman pantheon later and lacked political prominence. Despite not belonging to any major clans, Neptune ruled the seas, gaining prominence during Rome's expansion. With the rise of Christianity, Neptune's importance waned, which marked the end of his influence. Neptune, born of Ops and Saturn, was swallowed during infancy alongside siblings by his father. By Ops' cunning switch of Jupiter with a stone, Neptune emerged from Saturn's belly along with his siblings. The sea god joined Jupiter in overthrowing Saturn and took control of the ocean. Pluto. Pluto was a powerful Roman god who ruled the underworld. He was influenced by both Hades and Pluton, who controlled wealth. The fusion of Greek and Roman influences shaped Pluto's identity as the god of the dead and riches, often interchangeably known as Dis Pater. Pluto was born to Ops and Saturn alongside mighty siblings like Jupiter and Neptune. He ruled the underworld. Pluto's children were believed to be Eumenides, goddesses of revenge dwelling in the dark underworld. Venus. Venus, the Roman goddess of love and fertility, was loved by both people and gods. Her fluid sexuality welcomed various lovers. Adopted from Epaphroditus, she rose to prominence during the Punic Wars, considered to favor Rome. Venus, revered for her victories and associated with Caesar's lineage, endured in Roman worship until the rise of Christianity. Venus's birth from Uranus's severed genitals, tossed into the ocean by Saturn, was symbolized by her iconic clam-like birth in art. Now just remember that this is all just Roman mythology. Subscribe for more videos like this.